You ever heard of Liverpool? It's pretty well known. Gerrard, Rush, Torres, Salah, Dalglish. These were the names in football everybody knew, and in 2025 still know. When they won their first Premier League title in 2020, they finally sat alongside the other big accomplished names in English football. Gone were the days of mediocrity and questionable managers and players. Liverpool had become a team every football fan feared. Nearly every kid knew about Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson, Trent Alexander-Arnold or Mane. Of course, in football, no club is universally loved, but it was hard not to appreciate a winner winning. Their Klopp era reinvigorated even the oldest Liverpool fan, making them believe again in being able not only to compete with the best, but to beat the best. I greatly appreciate Liverpool for where they are now, but it wasn't long ago that a future like this felt a step too far. Liverpool wasn't always the top two side in England, competing for the title year after year and boasting the best talent in the league. From 2005 to 2015, the club was erratic, mediocre, dysfunctional, unpredictable and incredibly transitional. These words don't just describe the team's identity at the time, they could easily summarise some of the players Liverpool signed during that era. And they perfectly suit the player we're discussing today. Someone who arrived with promise but never settled into a rhythm, scored no Premier League goals, had minimal impact and limited minutes, and ultimately represented the uncertain squad building strategy of the time. A symbol of the club's struggle to bridge the gap between eras. Between 2005 and 2015, Liverpool essentially created their own banter decade. They had Roy Hodgson managing the club and bringing in Paul Konchesky to wear the badge, and Mario Balotelli, who scored one league goal after arriving for about £16 million. They were so easy to make fun of, and I'm not finished with this decade yet. We've talked about Aquilani, Markovic, Keane, Sissoko, Voronin, and even Hodgson. And now we add another former player to the fire. So before we get stuck in, I will quickly add this part so it's not droning along in the video. If you like these kind of videos and have enjoyed any other video I made, be sure to like and subscribe, ensuring that YouTube finally realises I'm not just screaming into the void. That done and dusted, let's get into the former Liverpool player I'll be discussing today, Iago Aspas. Hello. The answer to the question, who could have possibly provided the most useless corner in football history and have it recorded? Iago Aspas in 2025 is a footballer who has accomplished so much, yet has only won one trophy in his career. A footballer whose career is the proverbial shit sandwich.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
At this point in writing, Aspas has played 662 career games and scored 239 league goals.
You know, do the math on that, it's one goal a game, pretty much.
A footballer who is as much a prolific goalscorer as the likes of Ronald Koeman and Kaká, yet has never played for a big club. Or did he? Jokes aside, Iago Aspas was, and still is, a prolific goalscorer. And if you've already seen the thumbnail, and hopefully have made it this far into the video, Aspas signed for Liverpool once upon a time. The stature of one of England's biggest football clubs, yet operated otherwise with signings and competitive performances. When Aspas joined Liverpool, it was obviously seen as a step up, but in hindsight, was just a year to forget. And once he left, he remembered which foot was his best. When did he join Liverpool? What was the plan for him in the red shirt? How did his name become known on Merseyside? Well, if you've seen some of my previous Liverpool videos, the first thing we'll need to do is go back to where he came from and how he was scouted to play at Anfield. So before Liverpool, Aspas was born in Morana, in the province of Pontevedra, in 1987. It was at an early age that he would begin his ascent into Celta Vigo's cream of the crop as he represented the youth teams from the age of 7. It would then be in the 2007-8 season that he would make his debut for the club while still representing the B team, at the time representing the Segunda Division B. A couple of years later, he would be fully promoted to the first team, evidently finding his stride in not only leading the line for Celta Vigo, but being their outright top goal scorer. In the 2011-12 season, he scored 23 league goals, leading to Celta Vigo being promoted to La Liga. Second to only Ulloa, who had spells with both Brighton and Leicester, Aspas was voted best forward and Zara Trophy winner for the division, an award voted by the coaches of the Segunda Division. Aspas took his chance as soon as he entered the fray of La Liga. In the 2012-13 season, he finished the season as Celta Vigo's top goal scorer with 12 goals. These goals in particular kept Celta Vigo in the top tier of Spanish football. This showed that Aspas was not only able to keep up with the pace of facing more experienced players, but also the fact Aspas' stock was rising with every game. The fact was that at the time, Aspas was in demand from not only within Spain, but also from England. Valencia, Tottenham and Swansea kept him on their radar, but evidently Liverpool were the team to acquire his services for about £7 million in 2013. The plan? He was meant to be a support striker / backup to Suarez and Sturridge. Rodgers saw him as someone who could play across the front three, a creative connector who was deemed as undervalued, which would have hopefully helped build depth within the squad. Aspas was partly signed to ensure Liverpool weren't left short up front, as the fear of losing Suarez through a transfer or suspension was made clear. It was time to see if Aspas was able to hack the Premier League. Well, he didn't hack it.
What?
So let's get through the toughest parts of these Liverpool videos, talking about a player's time at Liverpool. Where to start, man? Okay, so the deal was done and the medical was completed, but there was one more thing that needed to be done before his clown fiesta of a tenure at Liverpool began. His former agent stopped the Spanish FA from sending the last pieces of documentation to England because he had some beef with Aspas' brother Jonathan. Jorge Santoma tried to slow down the deal being done. However, I don't think it's too far-fetched that he was a time traveller and tried to warn Liverpool of what was to come for the next 2 years. Anyway, that was resolved and Aspas joined Liverpool in June 2013. Kalou Kalé! He joined in time for Liverpool's pre-season where he made his debut assisting Raheem Sterling against Preston. He would make his debut in the league as he played just behind Sturridge and in between both Coutinho and Henderson in a 4-2-3-1. His competitive debut started on the right foot, an assist for Sturridge which gave Liverpool a win in their first game of the season. It was a contribution which many hoped would be the first of many. For such a small fee for Aspas, there was hope that he would increase his own value tenfold. He started for Liverpool in the next 2 games, but for all 3 games he was subbed off during the second half. Against Swansea, he came on in the 55th minute and would be hauled off at half-time against Southampton. It would be then that his succession of games played would come to an end, as he remained on the bench on the 6th game of the season against Sunderland. With a 3-1 win at the Stadium Light, it was clear who Rodgers preferred to cover and play alongside with Sturridge and Suarez. With Victor Moses instead playing behind the two, he would be replaced on the 75th minute for a youngster by the name of Raheem Sterling. This came even more evident in the next game as he came on as a substitute for Sturridge in the 88th minute. November would literally be nothing of note, which then leads us to December, where Aspas played for a combined 14 minutes plus injury time, as he turned into an impact sub, minus the impact.
Obviously.
With Sturridge carrying a torn lateral ankle ligament injury at the start of 2014, Aspas was put in the starting 11 for the first time since October, where he was then subbed off in the 62nd minute. Like seriously, we're halfway in Aspas' appearances for Liverpool, but we've now covered 2 attacking players under Rodgers, who he just doesn't know how to utilise. From Markovic with playing him in the centre of midfield and wing-back positions, to Aspas being given cameo roles. How was he able to flourish? Though he did do that corner. Anyway, 4 minutes of playtime in February, 5 minutes in March, 9 in April. 9 in April? Who was the 9 minutes against? Oh, Chelsea. At least he got a few more minutes. Wait, no. This isn't the match it is. Oh no. This was the last game Aspas ever played for Liverpool. The very match he gave away that corner was his last for Liverpool. It's a great shame, you know? I hope in saying this that I will still say when I'm 60, that I'll never believe a footballer forgets how to play football, more so a professional one. And it wasn't like Aspas was destined to make that corner kick. But in hindsight, if I'd have known that this was his last game for Liverpool, I would have been more understanding as to why Liverpool let him go for £5 million. But what was the point of buying a player whose plan for him was to give him plenty of game time, to increase his value, and then ultimately loan him and sell him as part of an obligation? The next season, Iago Aspas spent the 2014-15 season with Sevilla, playing 16 times and scoring 2 goals. At the end of the season, he signed for Sevilla, and then sold straight to Celta Vigo on the same day. What came after was the player I wish he could have been for Liverpool. So simply put, after Liverpool, Iago Aspas has become a legend for Celta Vigo. Since leaving England, he has scored over 200 goals in all competitions, has become Celta Vigo's all-time top goal scorer, played over 500 matches, won the Zara Trophy on 4 separate occasions in La Liga, and is ranked inside the top 20 of La Liga's all-time scorers, around 13 goals behind Luis Suarez at the time this video is released. He is Celta Vigo's captain and has repeatedly played a pivotal role in keeping the club in La Liga, especially during the 2016-17, 17-18, 18-19 and 22-23 seasons, which helped coin the phrase, "If Celta stay up, thank Aspas." He has earned 20 caps for Spain, was included in the 2018 World Cup squad, and scored the famous VAR check back heel equaliser against Morocco that ensured Spain topped their group. Essentially, he has become the face, voice, leader and icon for Celta Vigo. And to that, I ask one question. Is this the same guy who played for Liverpool? In football, your career usually goes one of two ways. When you hit a difficult period, you either fade into obscurity, as so many promising players have, or you rise again, using the setback as fuel. Much like Robbie Keane, who left Liverpool after 6 months and immediately rediscovered himself at Tottenham, Aspas became the striker many clubs wish they had, and the striker Liverpool wished they had signed in 2013. Sometimes the weight of expectation, whether from a club or a league, can crush a player and turn them into a meme that never fades. In England, that corner against Chelsea will be etched into the frontal lobes of Liverpool fans and Premier League fans forever. But we shouldn't ignore that Aspas has now scored more La Liga career goals than Samuel Eto'o. In the end, Aspas didn't get the game time he expected at Liverpool, but goal contributions earn you a place in the starting 11. He scored no Premier League goals, but did score 1 competitive goal in the FA Cup against Oldham. That is Iago Aspas in England. But in Spain, however, he is a legend, a player who may one day be spoken about alongside elite goal scorers such as Puskás or Diego Forlán. The questions surrounding his Liverpool move, why he joined, what his role was supposed to be, and how he was perceived on Merseyside have all been answered. But one new question remains. Why have so many players from Liverpool's banter decade gone on to thrive elsewhere? Aspas' underwhelming spell at Anfield reflects a simple truth. His best qualities had not yet been unlocked. It never clicked for him at Liverpool, and in hindsight it was a missed opportunity. He could have flourished and become a cult hero, perhaps even a club legend. Instead, he became a legend in Spain, a cult figure in La Liga, and in England, a meme born from a single corner kick. So what do you guys make of Iago Aspas' career as a whole? Be sure to comment your feelings about how Iago Aspas went from a flop in England into a legend in Spain. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, I will see you soon.